Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, kingdom-minded people of purpose, listen to me closely. God said, prepare for the final plan in April 2025. And when God speaks, he doesn't suggest, he declares. This is not the season for spiritual apathy. This is the season for divine alignment. Let me tell you something. Preparation precedes promotion. You can't step into the next level if you're still clinging to the last one. And God isn't preparing the blessing for you. He's preparing you for the blessing. So when he says prepare, don't you dare sit still. Don't get caught watching the calendar. Get caught moving in purpose. April 2025 is not just another date on the timeline of your life. It is a divine appointment. It's not a moment, it's a movement. But let me ask you, will you be ready when the plan unfolds? Because here's the truth. You don't get what you want, you get what you're prepared for. You don't receive what you desire, you receive what you can handle. So the question is not what is the plan? The question is, are you prepared for what God is about to release? This is your warning and your invitation. This is not a time to operate in fear. This is the time to move in faith and fire, to cut off distractions, to release the excuses, to stop asking for signs when he already gave you a word. God said it, so now it's on you to move like it's already done. Some of you are sitting on dreams he gave you 5 years ago. Some of you are praying for clarity when he's waiting on obedience. Some of you are waiting for conditions to be perfect, but God specializes in bringing power out of pressure. Preparation precedes promotion. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a spiritual law, a kingdom principle, and a divine truth that separates those who watch from those who walk into destiny. God doesn't elevate people who are casually interested in their calling. He promotes the ones who have prepared in the dark, who've stayed ready even when the spotlight wasn't on them, who've sown in silence so they can reap in purpose. When God is getting ready to move in your life, he doesn't show up with cameras and confetti. He shows up with instruction. He shows up with process. He shows up with opportunities to stretch your faith and strengthen your character. And how you handle those moments, how you prepare, determines whether you're ready to be trusted with more. Everyone wants promotion, but few want the discipline that comes before it. Preparation is the evidence that you believe the promise is real. It's how you demonstrate faith without needing the results in your hands yet. The promotion you're praying for isn't waiting on God, it's waiting on your preparation. See, some people confuse waiting with passivity, but kingdom waiting is never idle, it's active. While you're waiting on the door to open, you should be building, learning, refining, practicing, fasting, praying, working, because when it opens, you don't want to have to get ready, you want to be ready. David didn't become king when he stepped into the palace. He was preparing in the fields. He was learning to lead sheep before God allowed him to lead a nation. He was practicing with a slingshot before he ever stood before Goliath. It was that preparation that made him qualified, not in the eyes of man, but in the eyes of God. God saw the preparation and said, that's a man after my heart. That's someone I can elevate. So if you're in a season where no one sees what you're doing, no one's clapping for you, and you feel like you're being overlooked, don't despise that. That's the training ground. That's the refining fire. That's where God builds the kind of strength that can sustain success. Because here's the truth. Promotion without preparation is a setup for failure. If you step into something you haven't been built to carry, it'll crush you. But when you've prepared in the quiet, you'll have the foundation to stand strong when the weight of the calling hits you. Preparation is where your mindset is molded, where your character is tested, where your endurance is developed. This is where you learn discipline. This is where you learn to trust God in silence, so you'll trust him when the noise of success comes. And let me tell you that preparation doesn't always feel holy. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like getting up early when you'd rather sleep. Sometimes it looks like saying no to distractions and yes to isolation. Sometimes it looks like working on skills nobody's paying you for yet. But God is watching. Heaven is watching. and your preparation is your yes in motion. We live in a world that wants microwave success, but God is still a crock-pot God. He slow cooks greatness. He marinated Joseph in prison before elevating him to Pharaoh's right hand. He tested Moses in the wilderness before trusting him to lead his people out of Egypt. He refined Esther in the palace before she ever opened her mouth before the king. In every one of those stories, preparation came before promotion, not after. You don't get the oil without the pressing. You don't wear the crown without first carrying the cross. April 25 is a divine appointment, not just a date. It's not an ordinary point in time you mark on a calendar. It is a moment ordained by God himself. When heaven sets a date, everything in the spirit realm begins to align. Time is not random in the kingdom. God doesn't operate by accident or coincidence. He operates by design and intention. So when he speaks a specific time, that's not a casual suggestion. It's a signal to his people to pay attention, to position themselves, and to move in alignment. A divine appointment is a meeting between your obedience and God's fulfillment. It's not just something that happens, it's something that is prepared for. April 2025 is not waiting to give you something, it's demanding something from you. The question is not whether the time will come. The question is whether you'll be positioned when it does. God can release a word, but if you're out of place, if your heart's not right, if your hands aren't ready, you can miss the very thing that was meant for you. That's why discernment is critical in this season, not just to hear what God is saying, but to recognize the weight of the timing in which he's saying it. Think about it. When God called Noah to build the ark, he didn't tell him to build it when the rain started. He told him long before. There was a date set in the future, but preparation had to happen in advance. If Noah had waited for evidence, he would have drowned with the rest. But because he responded to a divine appointment that looked foolish in the moment, he and his family were preserved. Divine appointments often won't make sense in the natural. They rarely feel convenient, but they always carry consequence for those who prepare and for those who don't. April 2025 may look like just another month to the world, but to those tuned into the Spirit, it's a strategic checkpoint. It's a pivot point. It's not the finish line. It's a launch pad. Some people will see it as the end of something, but it's really the beginning of what has been long prepared. It's a kairos moment, God's appointed time. And kairos moments don't wait for you to be comfortable. They require you to move when God says move, even if you don't have all the details, even if the circumstances don't make sense yet. This is not about hype. This is not about fear. This is about understanding that heaven has a schedule, and when heaven speaks, earth is expected to respond. Divine appointments are disruptive by nature. They shake routines, they challenge comfort zones, they call you into higher accountability, they expose distractions, and they demand clarity. That's why so many people miss them. They're still trying to live casually in a season that demands intentionality. April 2025 is a line in the sand. It's a divine alert. It's God giving his people advance notice. Get your house in order. Set your focus. Clean up the distractions. Tune your ear. Sharpen your tools, because when the moment comes, it won't wait for you to finish procrastinating. Heaven is not on your timeline. You must get on heaven's timeline. There's a weight to this timing. There's a shift coming, and it's not for those who are waiting for signs. It's for those who are already moving in faith. God doesn't need you to understand the whole plan. He needs you to obey the instruction tied to the timing. Divine appointments aren't about convenience. They're about covenant. They don't show up when you're ready. They show up when the kingdom is ready to release something through you. That means April 2025 is not just about what's happening to you, it's about what's being activated through you. God is setting things in motion, aligning people, opening doors, and releasing strategies that will impact more than just your life. You don't get what you want, you get what you're prepared for. Wanting something is easy. Everybody wants success, influence, financial freedom, purpose, peace, healing, breakthroughs. But in the kingdom, desire without preparation is just noise. It's not enough to want the promise. You have to be positioned to receive it. God does not bless wishful thinking. He blesses readiness. He blesses stewardship. He blesses those who are prepared not just in words, but in action, in mindset, in discipline, and in obedience. Wanting is emotional, preparation is intentional. Wanting speaks to your feelings, but preparation speaks to your faith. When you truly believe God is going to do what he said, you start to build before you see results. You don't wait for confirmation, you become the confirmation. Your actions become the evidence of your belief. This is why some people keep praying for things they're not equipped to handle. They're asking for the weight of glory without developing the shoulders to carry it. God, in his mercy, won't give you what you're not ready to sustain. He's not trying to tease you, he's trying to train you. Preparation is proof of your expectation. You don't prepare for things you don't believe are coming. When a woman is pregnant, she doesn't wait until delivery to buy a crib. She doesn't wait until labor to read about parenting. She starts preparing because she knows what's coming. Her preparation is based on a promise, not on visibility. In the same way, if God has spoken something over your life and you truly believe it, your life should reflect that belief. Your schedule should reflect it. Your spending, your conversations, your habits should all testify that you're expecting something divine. People say they want more money, but they haven't prepared a budget. People say they want a business, but they haven't learned the basics of stewardship. People say they want a platform, but they haven't mastered integrity. What you want is irrelevant if your life can't handle the weight of what you're asking for. God is not interested in giving you something that will destroy you. That's why he gives based on capacity, not emotion. That's why the season of waiting is often a season of stretching. He's not delaying you, he's developing you. Sometimes the preparation looks like correction. God will point out areas in your life that need alignment before the blessing can be released. It's not punishment, it's pruning. He's making sure that when the opportunity comes, it doesn't expose your immaturity. He's making sure that when the door opens, you don't sabotage it with unresolved issues. So while you're wanting the next level, God is asking, can you manage what you've already got? Can you be faithful with little so you can be trusted with more? This is why some people watch others rise while they stay stuck. It's not because God plays favorites, it's because preparation makes the difference. You can't walk into a harvest you didn't plant for. You can't demand a season you didn't train for. The laws of the kingdom don't bend for wishful thinking. Heaven responds to preparation. Heaven responds to faith in motion. Your current level of preparation is setting the limit on what can be released to you. That means if you want greater, you don't ask harder, you prepare deeper. You don't complain louder, you sharpen more. You don't wait for someone to open the door, you get ready so that when it opens, you don't hesitate, you walk in with boldness because you know you were built for it. Wanting it doesn't make it yours. Being prepared for it does. Wanting it may stir your heart, but preparation proves your hunger. Obedience activates the plan, not clarity. In the kingdom, God rarely lays out the entire path before he commands you to move. He speaks in steps, not blueprints. And that's intentional because faith is not built by knowing everything. It's built by trusting even when you don't. We live in a world that is obsessed with clarity. People want to have all the answers, all the confirmations, all the guarantees before they take the first step. But God doesn't respond to your desire for clarity. He responds to your willingness to obey without it. When God told Abraham to leave his country, he didn't give him a map or a timetable. He simply said, go to the land I will show you. That kind of instruction doesn't satisfy logic, but it demands faith. Abraham's obedience activated a covenant that would bless generations. If he had waited for more details, he would have missed the door entirely. Too many people are missing their moment because they're trying to understand everything before they move. But in the kingdom, movement often comes before understanding. Obedience opens doors that clarity can't even see. Obedience is not about comfort, it's about alignment. It positions you under heaven's authority. It puts you in the flow of God's will, even if you don't understand the full picture. God doesn't ask you to understand, he asks you to trust. And trust without action is just theory. It's when you move without knowing, when you act without full visibility, when you step forward even while questions remain. That's when the supernatural shows up. That's when God meets your motion with momentum. The truth is, clarity often comes in motion. It's on the path of obedience that God begins to reveal more. Like headlights on a dark road. You won't see the whole highway, but as you move forward, the next few feet become visible. Many people sit in park waiting for the full road to be lit, but revelation is connected to movement. If you want more clarity, start with obedience. Do the last thing he told you to do. Show up where he called you, build what he placed in your spirit, forgive who he told you to forgive, sow where he told you to sow. It's in that obedience that more unfolds. Some delay their destiny under the illusion that they're waiting on God, when in reality, God is waiting on them, waiting on you to move, waiting on you to respond, waiting on you to obey, even when it doesn't make sense. You don't need to know every step. You just need to know the next one. And sometimes obedience feels risky. It feels unreasonable. It requires you to confront fear, to silence doubt, to break away from familiar routine. But that's where breakthrough lives, not in the known, but in the faithful step beyond it. The enemy will always try to confuse you with questions. He'll try to paralyze you with uncertainty. But God never said, figure it out first. He said, follow me. And following requires action. Obedience isn't passive, it's decisive. It's not a suggestion, it's a response. When you obey, even in uncertainty, you invite God to reveal the rest. But if you wait for clarity before obedience, you're not walking by faith, you're walking by sight. God is not obligated to explain himself. He is sovereign, he is strategic, he is intentional, and when he gives a word, that word carries weight even if it lacks detail. Your job is not to dissect it, your job is to respond. Some people stay stuck because they're treating divine instruction like a negotiation, when it was meant to be an activation. What unlocks the next level in your life is not how clearly you see the plan, it's how quickly you obey the voice. God brings power out of pressure. Pressure is not a sign that you're out of God's will. Often it's confirmation that you're right where you're supposed to be. In the natural, pressure is what forms diamonds. It's what forces oil out of olives. It's what pushes a seed to break so life can grow. Spiritually, pressure does the same thing. It brings out what's already inside of you. It's the squeezing, the stretching, the uncomfortable moments that reveal strength you didn't know you had and gifts you didn't know were buried within you. We tend to run from pressure, to avoid it, to pray it away, but pressure is often the place where God shapes us for what he's already prepared for us. He uses pressure to refine character, to kill pride, to sharpen focus. He doesn't waste pressure. Every hard moment, every trial, every bit of resistance is being used to push something deeper out of you. The enemy wants you to think pressure is punishment, but in God's hands, pressure becomes a platform. It becomes a proving ground. It becomes the soil where purpose begins to break open. Look through scripture and you'll see it over and over again. Moses felt pressure in the wilderness before he became a leader. Esther felt pressure in the palace before she saved her people. Jesus felt pressure in Gethsemane before the power of the resurrection was revealed. Pressure always precedes power. Before the miracle, there's a moment of intensity. Before the promotion, there's a test of persistence. Before the overflow, there's often a season of opposition. It's not to destroy you, it's to develop you. There's a kind of power that only comes when you've been pressed. Not the kind you learn in a classroom, not the kind that comes from ease, but the kind of power that is forged in silence, in prayer, in tears, in trials. The kind of power that can't be shaken because it was born in a place where everything else was falling apart. That's the power God is producing in this season through the pressure. He's allowing the weight not to crush you, but to cultivate the capacity necessary for the next level. Pressure also reveals what doesn't belong. It shows you where your faith is weak, where your motives are off, where your dependencies are misplaced. It will press the insecurity out of you. It will press the false identity off of you. It will expose the areas where you've been relying on your own strength instead of his. Pressure purifies, and once it's done, what's left is usable, powerful, and positioned to carry glory. We often pray for elevation, but elevation comes with weight. God won't put you in a position you're not prepared to sustain. The pressure is not a delay, it's a setup. It's God preparing your foundation so the blessing doesn't break you. Because when the blessing comes, when the door opens, when the influence increases, the pressure will be different. And if you can't handle pressure in private, you won't survive it in public. This is why you can't despise the press. You can't run from the discomfort. You have to learn to lean into it, to let God do his work in you through it. The very thing you're trying to escape may be the thing God is using to elevate you. Your response to pressure determines whether it builds you or breaks you. When you respond in faith, when you stay planted, when you trust God in the middle of the squeeze, you position yourself for a release of power that only heaven can explain. What's pressing you is not bigger than what God is producing in you through it. This is a season of sudden shifts and divine strategy. Things are moving quickly, and what used to take years can now happen in moments because God is accelerating his agenda. But acceleration without strategy leads to chaos, and that's not how the kingdom operates. When God initiates a shift, it's not random, it's calculated, it's precise, it's part of a bigger plan that your eyes may not fully see, but your spirit has already been sensing. You've felt it in the tension, you've noticed it in the restlessness, you've seen signs of change around you, and now it's starting to unfold. Sudden shifts often feel disruptive before they feel divine. They shake the familiar, they uproot comfort, they push you out of old cycles and into unfamiliar ground. But God doesn't shift you to scare you, he shifts you to align you. When he begins to move things quickly, you don't have time to hold on to what he's telling you to let go of. You don't have time to second guess or delay in obedience. Sudden shifts require sudden trust. You may not understand the whole plan, but you have to be ready to respond with faith and precision. This season is not about hustle, it's about strategy. Divine strategy is heaven's instruction for earth's assignment. It's God showing you how to move, when to move, where to move, and what to move toward. In this season, revelation is being released to those who are listening, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. Strategy comes to the surrendered. It doesn't show up in chaos, it shows up in consecration. The ones who will thrive in this season are the ones who have quieted the noise long enough to hear God clearly. You can't apply old strategies to new seasons. What worked last year may not work now because the environment has changed. The pace has shifted, the assignment has grown, and divine strategies are customized, tailored to your calling, your capacity, your purpose. That's why you can't copy someone else's moves. You need to get before God for yourself and hear what he's saying to you. He's not just giving general advice, he's giving blueprints. He's handing out instructions that will lead to breakthroughs, solutions, ideas, connections, and decisions that will shape the next decade of your life. Shifts are not always external. Sometimes the biggest shift is internal. God is shifting your mindset. He's breaking off limiting beliefs, uprooting old mentalities, and expanding your vision. You can't enter a new level with an old lens. The shift requires transformation from the inside out. Divine strategy starts in the spirit before it shows up in results. You may feel like things are changing around you suddenly, but what's really happening is that what God has been building in you secretly is now beginning to manifest publicly. This season will not reward the distracted. It will reward the discerning. You need to know what season you're in so you can move in step with what heaven is doing. Discernment will keep you from missing a door that looks unfamiliar. Strategy will help you build when others are confused. The shift will separate those who are led by impulse from those who are led by instruction. And instruction in this season is everything. One word from God can pivot your whole trajectory. One strategy from heaven can do more than a year of effort. Sudden doesn't mean random. It means God's timing has collided with your obedience. You may have felt like nothing was moving for a long time, but suddenly doors are opening, alignments are happening, resources are being released. That's not coincidence. That's divine strategy unfolding at the speed of faith. The ones who are ready will not be those who waited for it. They will be the ones who prepared for it. Don't be found packing, be found positioned. There's a difference between reacting and being ready. When God moves, he's not looking for people who are scrambling to get their lives in order at the last minute. He's looking for those who have been faithful in the quiet seasons, disciplined in the hidden places, prepared when nothing seemed to be happening. Being positioned means you've already aligned yourself with the word God gave you, and you're standing in the place where obedience meets opportunity. It means when the shift comes, you don't need to adjust, you just need to move. Many people are packing when they should have already been gone, still debating when they should be building, still questioning when they should be marching. There's a window in the spirit where things align, and if you miss that window, you don't stop the move of God, you just miss your part in it. Being positioned is about recognizing the urgency of obedience. It's about living in a posture of readiness so that when God speaks, you respond not in panic, but with precision. There's no time to figure it out when the door opens. You need to already know what's in your hand, what's in your heart, and what's your next move. This level of positioning requires preparation in advance. You don't wait until the battle starts to put on your armor. You don't wait until the opportunity arises to develop the skill. The people who are positioned for what's coming have already been refining, repenting, refocusing, and realigning. Their oil is already in their lamps. Their hearts are already set. Their vision is already clear. They're not wondering what season it is. They've discerned it in prayer and responded accordingly. Being positioned also means being planted. You can't be shifting in and out of commitment, jumping from place to place, and expect to catch the fullness of what God is doing. He honors stability. He blesses consistency. He moves through those who have remained rooted, even when nothing looked fruitful. Positioning isn't just about geography. It's about spiritual posture. It's about having the right attitude, the right relationships, the right focus, and the right heart. Some people miss the move of God because they're physically present but spiritually absent. They're near the promise, but their spirit is not ready to receive it. There's a difference between proximity and positioning. Being close to the anointing is not the same as being prepared to carry it. You can be in the right room and still be in the wrong mindset. You can hear the right word and still not have the right response. God is not impressed with casual interest. He's moved by intentional faith. If he told you something is coming in April 2025, then every day before that is not to be wasted. It's to be leveraged. It's time for action, not excuses. The bridesmaids in the parable all had lamps, but only some brought oil. The others were found packing, trying to catch up, trying to borrow, trying to rush what should have already been ready. The door opened, but they weren't in position. That moment wasn't unfair. It was final. It wasn't a punishment. It was the result of preparation or the lack of it. That's what this season demands, a readiness that doesn't wait for perfect timing, but trust that God's timing is perfect. You can't afford to be reactive in a time that requires responsiveness. You can't be wondering what to bring when you should be walking through the door. You need to be in alignment now. Your prayer life, your discipline, your relationships, your finances, your mindset, everything needs to be in place. Not perfect, but positioned. When the call comes, it won't come with a delay button. The only ones who will move with the momentum of God are the ones who already made the decision to stay ready.